would not be here today, were it not for the hard work, dedication, and support of the many people who believe the Washington Monument and Mount Vernon Place are very special to our fair city. We are very pleased that we began our rededication celebration earlier this morning with the naturalization ceremony, welcoming 39 new American citizens to the United States of America from 26 countries. We would like to thank the Mount Vernon community for their support of the Conservancy in its work. We are most gratified to the City of Baltimore for entrusting the Conservancy with this important restoration project and for its unwavering support and cooperation. To the members of the Conservancy's board, both past and present, we could not have accomplished this task without your tireless work, fundraising and restoration and management expertise. We thank the many contributors to our campaign. Special recognition must be given to the State of Maryland, the City of Baltimore, and the late Willard Hackeman for their contributions that totaled over $5 million toward this project. We would also like to thank those who supported this bicentennial celebration, including our lead sponsor, Bank of America, as well as Angora, BGE, Brown Advisory, Care First, the City of Baltimore, Classic Catering, Johns Hopkins University, Stuckey Design, and Venable. The beautiful bunting that decorates the buildings around Mount Vernon Place was sponsored by Hotel Igdigo. We would also like to thank the many individuals, businesses, and institutions who have helped the Conservancy plan, promote, and manage this event, including WBAL-TV, Baltimore Fishbowl, the Baltimore Sun, the Baltimore Office of Promotion and the Arts, and Visit Baltimore. As we develop our restoration plans, the Conservancy worked particularly closely with Baltimore City's Commission for Historical and Architectural Preservation and the Maryland Historical Trust to ensure that our restoration efforts met the highest standards for historical preservation. Our design team, led by CVM engineers, approached the restoration of the monument with exceptional expertise, thoroughness, and care. Our restoration construction team, led by Lewis Contractors, was nothing less than miraculous. I am pleased to report that our city and region boast outstanding craftsmen who perform much of the restoration, from masonry, plaster, stucco, wood, iron restoration, to the installation of modern-day needs such as communication, electrical, lighting, and technology systems. Bottom line, this historic structure now has the latest in 21st century technology, including well-designed and informative exhibits that are available on-site as well as on our website. Visitors can now learn about the history of the monument and Mount Vernon Place, as well as enjoy a virtual tour of the monument and the surrounding vistas as seen from the observation deck. Through the restoration process, we have been pleased to share our work with the public through our website, documentary videos, and our face page. If you have not visited these sites, we encourage you to do so. Now, in closing, I would be remiss if I did not give special recognition to a number of outstanding and deserving individuals. But for them, this restoration would not have taken place. Don McPherson for his wise counsel and impeccable lawyering. Jane McConnell and John Gilpin for heading up the Parks and Maintenance programming and raising it to a new level. Connie Kaplan and Richard Thomas for raising the money. Lance Humphreys for chairing our restoration committee and successfully completing on time what became, by anyone's assessment, an enormously challenging project. Kathy Rosenbaum for being the best administrator any organization could be lucky enough to have. And finally, to Faith Millspaw, the Conservancy's Vice President, for working tirelessly day and night with Adrian Carroll to plan and organize this exceptional bicentennial event, except for the rain. The Conservancy has been honored and privileged to lead the effort to restore Baltimore's most recognized and historic monument. Be assured, the Conservancy is committed to maintaining and managing the Washington Monument and Mount Vernon Place, so that all Baltimoreans and Marylanders for generations to come will be able to enjoy this iconic and historic park. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hopkins. The state of Maryland was a great supporter of the monument in 1815 and is today in 2015. Please welcome the Lieutenant Governor, Boyd Rutherford.
Good morning. Great to be here in the rain. For those of you old enough who remember, it makes me think about singing in the rain. But I'm not going to sing because you'd probably go home at that point. But it's great to be here to celebrate Independence Day and the 200th year of the Washington Monument. As was just mentioned, the state of Maryland had a critical role in the erecting of the monument, our country's first such tribute to George Washington. And I'm proud to be part of today's restoration and rededication and reopening ceremony. It was in 1808 when a group of Baltimore citizens went to the state legislature for permission to raise $100,000 to build this monument. Then 200 years ago, today, the cornerstone was laid by then Governor Levin Winder, who, as well as the Grand Marshal of the Masonic Lodge of Maryland. Or I should say he was the Grand Master of the Masonic Lodge. Governor Winder called the stone true and trusty, giving this memorial a solid foundation. We are honored to have with us the ceremonial trowel used on that special day, which is now under the care of the Maryland leader of the Freemasons, Mr. Wyden. Good to see you, sir. Thank you. I get to touch it. It doesn't mind the rain, and it's special. I think it's a little too glamorous to put in concrete or mortar. The state granted additional funds to complete the monument and requested that it be considered not just a Baltimore tribute to George Washington, but a tribute from the entire state of Maryland. An inscription was installed with that message, and it remains a point of pride for Baltimore as well as the state as a whole. I want to make special note that in my office at State Center, not far from here, hangs a reproduction of a lithograph commemorating the celebration of the ratification of the 15th Amendment to the Constitution on May 19, 1870. Marylander and one of my personal heroes, Frederick Douglass, spoke to a large crowd along with other dignitaries and marching bands on that day to celebrate, and it was done right here in 1870. The depiction at the top of the monument of Washington of his famous act of resigning his commission as Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army at the end of the Revolutionary War. That actual resignation took place in our State House in Annapolis. It is seen as one of Washington's most important leadership acts in the early years of our fledgling democracy, and it's an act that laid the groundwork for civilian control of government. For those who are history buffs, you may remember that there were some that wanted Washington to be king or to be general and have military command. but he resigned, which laid that groundwork for our civilian form of government. Today, as we mark the birth of our nation and the bicentennial of the Washington Monument, I want to congratulate the Mount Vernon Place Conservancy for the beautiful restoration that we celebrate today. And I hope it once again becomes the must-see destination for our city and state. Thank you very much, and maybe I should say enjoy the rain. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Today's celebration is made possible with the support of Bank of America. Please welcome David Millman, Maryland President of Bank of America.
I will be brief. Greetings to Mayor Rawlings Blake, Governor Rutherford, Ranger Vase, Mr. Hopkins, and all those present today. It's my honor and privilege to be with you today. And at Bank of America, our heritage is woven directly into our name. Therefore, it's fitting that we join the Mount Vernon Conservancy in presenting the monumental bicentennial to celebrate the rededication of Baltimore's iconic Washington Monument and the democratic ideals that Washington stood for. There are many important symbols of America across our country. Baltimore and Maryland can be proud of having erected the first monument to honor George Washington. The spirit of our civic pride first built the monument 200 years ago when private citizens came together and found a way to accomplish their interests in honoring the father of their country. They crowned it with a statue of Washington, resigning his commission as Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army in Annapolis in 1783, much like a day like today. An act that resonates today as this gesture established the spirit of democracy of government by the people. So this monument is more than a tribute to George Washington. It is also a symbol of American national independence. Community accomplishments such as the formation of the Conservancy are often critical to preserving important cultural assets such as the monument and Mount Vernon Place. Bank of America thanks the Conservancy for restoring and reopening this monument for the people of Baltimore, the United States, and the people of Maryland, all those who have traveled here from around the world. We're honored to be part of this celebration and congratulate you on this great accomplishment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Millman. The Mount Vernon Place Conservancy joined into a partnership with the Department of Recreation and Parks and the City of Baltimore to restore the parks of Mount Vernon as a space worthy of a national designation. The city has been a huge supporter through this restoration process. Please welcome our mayor, Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake.
Is it morning still? I don't know. I don't have a watch on up here. I'm good. I'm good. I know I appreciate the city-state partnership, but I'm going to hold my patriotic umbrella. So good morning, Baltimore. It might be soupy out, but it is a super day for Baltimore. I am so proud to be here with the Lieutenant Governor and the probably very quite soaked City Council President Jack Young. Hopefully he's still here. Are you down there? City Councilman Jim Kraft, City Councilman Eric Costello, City Councilman Pete Welch, City Councilman Carl Stokes, thank you all for braving the rain with so many of us. If you ever had a question about the resiliency and the tenacity of the people of Baltimore, just look around. It takes more than a few drops of rain to scare us from celebrating our history. We are out here in full force today. 200 years ago today, Baltimore came together. united in patriotism and pride, to build our nation's first monument. Just think about it. We celebrated the beginning of the War of 1812. We celebrated the ending of the War of 1812 and the Battle of Baltimore and the penning of our national anthem just last year. And just think about the history. Then right after that, our city celebrated and laid the cornerstone for our nation's first monument to our independence and to George Washington. We have an incredible history here in Baltimore. We have led the way. We have made sure that our country remained free with the Battle of Baltimore. We have led the nation when it comes to recognizing our history with this monument, and my goal is to make sure that we continue to lead. We have a tenacity that shows that we've been down, but we've never been out. And I think today, in all of this rain, we are showing that that tenacity and that spirit of Baltimoreans remains strong. And I want to welcome, I know that you're out there somewhere. Earlier today, there was a celebration of not just new Americans, but new Baltimoreans in a naturalization ceremony. Are any of you still out there today? If you're out there, wave your hands. Congratulations! If nothing else, you'll never forget this day. Your clothes will maybe never dry out. So I want to thank the Conservancy. This is an amazing example of a great partnership. I know that there were times during this process that we didn't know, we thought we might not make it in time for this 200th celebration, but you did it, and you did it well. So congratulations. Thank you for everyone who invested in making this happen, to celebrate our history, to celebrate Independence Day. God bless, and I hope by the end of the day we all get dry. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Right now, we are going to do it. We are going to rededicate the monument with a ribbon cutting. So I would like to ask our speakers to proceed below for the ribbon cutting. As they do, we will have a performance by the Maryland Defense Force Band. They will perform the George Washington Bicentennial March by John Philip Sousa.
Nice going. Okay. Okay. Oh no, I'll move over this way. I got umbrellas now. Okay. I'll go to the ribbon. I'm going to the ribbon. Okay. Got it. Okay, we're fine. Videotape the councilmen and women. You're looking at Baltimore City Council members. July 4th, 2015. Washington Monument Rededication Biennial
Thank you so much.
Crowd.
A few
Rainy
fun
day
facts about our city. Baltimoreans were proud that they could erect a monument out of locally sourced materials. The marble for the base and column is from 2 different quarries in Baltimore County. The 2 marbles have very different characteristics. Bricks for the interior construction were made in Baltimore, and there was a blacksmith shop on site during construction. The monument's cornerstone was laid in 1815, and in 1816, the very first block of marble. By 1818, the column had risen to 106 feet, or about 2/3 of its eventual height. However, it was already a tourist attraction. The year before, in 1817, President James Monroe was brought here to the Howard's Woods to see the monument under construction. Now, the statue on the top of the monument was carved by an Italian-born sculptor named Enrico Costicci, and the enormous block of marble for the statue was located on the farm of Mrs. Frances T.D. Taylor in northern Baltimore County.
Gonna get her hair
There
wet.
will be a test later. I hope you're taking wet notes. It was cut into 3 pieces for the sculptor to carve it. It was raised to the top in 1829 using a derrick system with ropes and pulleys. Architect Robert Mills devised the system after raising the first 2 blocks. They were able to raise the final block into place in just 1 hour. Former President John Quincy Adams assisted the monument's board of managers in selecting the events in Washington's life to commemorate on the outside of the monument in the bronze inscriptions. In addition to his birth and death, they honored Washington's role as our first commander-in-chief, his victories at the battles of Trenton and Yorktown, and his role as the first president of the United States. The statue of Washington is 16 and 2 inches tall, including a short pedestal. During the course of the restoration, the statue was scanned in 3D, and from the scan, the weight of the statue can be determined for the first time in modern history. The combined total of the 3 pieces is 11 1/3 tons, or almost 23,000 pounds. I did not do that math. During the course of the restoration, the monument's 1815 cornerstone was discovered, a time capsule installed at the top of the monument's 1915 centennial.